Hey everyone, it is late at night and I'm Norman. Tonight we're going to be doing a full review of a super fun artistic watch that arrived in this box. So let us begin. Alright, so here is a closer look at the box that it shipped in. And we get a preview of what is inside right here. We have some more branding there. And some information on the artist that this watch is inspired by. And we'll come back to this later. And there is the watch. You may have already seen this piece if you caught my first impressions video, but this is what it looked like when it arrived. Hang tag, and it's on cardboard. This watch is super fun. And when I confessed to my wife that I ordered this, I showed her a picture of it, and she likes it as well. Looking at the strap, the clasp on it is pretty good. It seems to close up pretty securely, especially on this side. Yeah, this side here I usually have to push the buttons in just a little bit. I have it adjusted so that it fits me. And this bracelet itself isn't too bad. It looks great on this watch. It feels a little bit light, and it does grab arm hair, which is not fun, but it seems to be pretty decent. And looking at the case back, we have Josef Albers, the name of the artist, who did a painting that looks pretty much identical to the dial on here. And this piece is the study of homage to the square. Persistent 1954 through 60. Josef and Ann Albers Foundation. Then we have Project's watches down below. Stainless steel. 3 meters of water resistance. And the case back is all brushed. There's a decent lip here, so that the case back can be popped off for changing the battery. And this bracelet is quick release. But like I mentioned in the first impressions video, it's not like it's an integrated bracelet, so it wouldn't have been terrible to get it off of here anyway, but this just makes life much easier. The lugs are tiny, but I think the spring bars are kind of out near the edge. So when I decide to put this on a strap, I don't think it'll be too bad getting it on there. Looking at the height of the case, it's not super thick. Everything is nicely brushed, even up into the frame here. I feel like that's more of a frame than a bezel. I mean, this watch is pretty perfect for what it is. You are literally wearing a piece of art on your wrist. I'll grab some shots of the original paintings and put those in this video so you can see this versus the original artwork. The crystal on here is mineral, so it can scratch. But this isn't a piece that I'm going to be wearing all the time. When I bought it, I knew it would be just a once-in-a-while watch, but I had never owned a square watch. So I was pretty excited to see one on the wrist and in person. Now this is pretty large for a square watch, but I feel like with this fun aesthetic and the fact that it's essentially a painting on your wrist, it's not too bad. I feel like if it was a dressier piece or a more classy, subdued kind of piece, or minimal Bauhaus watch, this size would just be huge. But with this, I don't know, it kind of fits, sort of. The crown is decent sized. As you can see, this is a quartz piece, so you won't be using it often, but let's see what it's like. We'll pop this out. And yeah, this movement hacks. That's pretty cool. And it feels nice when you're setting the time. Pop that back in. There goes the seconds hand. Very cool. I love the depth of this dial. I mean, that dial definitely steals the show. Everything else just kind of falls off into the background. The colors are so great. And like I said, making it 3D like that with each square set in further is a really cool touch. It wouldn't be nearly as interesting if it was just a flat dial with colored squares applied to it. Painted on it even. Yeah. I like the choice of white hands with a seconds hand that matches the outer bit of the dial there. It's just fun and artistic. So cool. So coming back to this card, this has some information on Josef Albers. It mentions that it is part of the study for homage to the square. This is the persistent. And he produced these square pieces of art from, I believe, 1950 until the year he died. So he was absolutely dedicated to squares. But there's also a little write-up on Josef Albers here, and it reads, Josef Albers was one of the foremost artists of the 20th century. He made groundbreaking art and designs in glass, woodworking, painting, and printmaking. The homage to the square paintings and prints that he began in 1950 and continued until his death in 1976 are among the masterworks of modern art. And they truly are. They look so cool. I mean, just the idea of nested squares in fun, intriguing colors. If you go on the project's website, you can see other colorways, and I believe they're all persistent watches. I don't think that he had different painting names for the different colorways. But when I purchased this, it was kind of a toss-up between this and the lime green variant. But ultimately I went with the even brighter, radiant colored one. As for the specifications on this watch, the case size is 35 millimeters, which is actually pretty large for a square watch. The case height is 8 millimeters, the lug to lug is 44 millimeters, the lug width is 18 millimeters. The crystal on this is mineral. I don't think Project offers any watches with sapphire crystals. That would be nice, but yeah. The movement inside this is some kind of quartz movement. Unfortunately, their website doesn't specify what's in it. I really wish that all sites that are selling watches would at least let us know what movement's in them. The water resistance is 30 meters. And the price that these are listed on their website is $189. And when I saw that in preparation for this video, I was kind of in shock. When I ordered this, it was actually a pre-order. I didn't realize that they weren't available till after I made my purchase. And I only paid $125 for this, which I feel is a much more reasonable price for these watches. Had I seen it listed for nearly $200, I might not have gone for it. Part of the selling point of this was it's a brilliant watch and it's a little bit over $100. Oh, and by the way, an interesting thing about Josef Albers' painting, The Persistent, is it was actually oil on masonite. And the painting was 24 inches by 24 inches. Just a little FYI in there. Alright, so let me take off, of course, the Tudor. Shocker. And we'll see what the Persistent is like when you're wearing it. And there is the Persistent on my 7-inch wrist. My wrist is 55 millimeters wide, and you can see how it totally looks like a painting on your wrist. It's cool how the clasp is camouflaged in there, but it's bad in the sense that you don't really get micro adjustment. I kind of lucked out, and with this many links in here, it seems to fit pretty perfectly. And another interesting thing about this watch, if you're insecure and would like people to compliment you on your watches, which never happens, I have had 3 people mention watches that I'm wearing in all of my time collecting watches. Once in an airport, I had a guy staring at me creepily. I was just about to confront him when he finally got up the courage to compliment my Citizen. I was wearing a Citizen Eco Drive, so then his bizarre staring made a lot more sense. My Christopher Ward Malvern also got a compliment at a Starbucks, and the very first time I wore this watch out, I was complimented on it. So if you want comments or compliments on your watch, pick up one of these. It's definitely a conversation starter. That looks so cool. Yeah, this watch is super fun. I like me some artsy, unique watches, and this fits the bill. So there you have it, the Projects Persistent watch. This is the second Projects watch that I've owned. The other one still needs to be fixed. The hands have gotten loose while I was changing its battery. Note to self, always use one finger to hold the movement down when you're prying a battery out of it. Because some watches, if the movement lifts, it'll pop the hands off. Fortunately, it sounds like it won't be terribly expensive to have them put back on. I just have to actually box it up and ship it off. But the Persistent watch is super fun. What a great piece. Now I need to go back to Palm Springs so I can wear it and really get into the mood of the place. Palm Springs. Thanks for watching.